Assalamu alaikum, brother. How you doing?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Great, brother. So, brother Heaven, it is, right?
That's it.
Awesome, brother. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from in terms of background, and yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, my name is Heaven. I was born in Toronto. I'm naturally, my ethnicity is I'm Sri Lankan. I'm of Tamil descent. Yeah, came to Islam about, it's going to be, 2 years now?
Subhanallah, awesome,
Yeah,
man.
about 2 years.
So, heaven, like Jannah heaven?
Literally like Jannah Heaven, yeah.
Subhanallah, man. Awesome. It's like you were prepared for this, man.
I know.
From day one.
Like,
From
literally,
day one.
literally.
Awesome. So, you were saying you reverted 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
Okay, so I know, but as a revert myself, we all have stories and moments where we felt that in life, we may have got our first calling, I guess you could say. What would you say was your first introduction to Islam? And then maybe you can come into like how you later, started to take it, I guess you could say maybe more seriously or
Yeah.
looking at it more deeply, I guess you
Yeah,
could say.
yeah. I would say my first introduction to Islam was, I want to say back in 2016.
Okay.
So I was actually working security. I was still in university at the time, so I was working security with a Muslim brother. His name was Salman.
Okay.
So we were on night shifts, and we were taking care of a school. So we had all the time in the world because there's no students. It's just like 4 security guards. It was a Centennial College actually that I was working at.
Okay.
So we had the whole college to ourselves, right? So we're just doing our patrols, and then obviously once you're done your patrols, you're basically just chilling, right? But yeah, me and Salman had a lot of time together. There were 12-hour shifts. We worked full time at the time, and yeah, obviously one conversation would lead to the other, and then I think I was always like a spiritual kind of guy. Like I was always curious about, like the afterlife and why we're here, right? So. Yeah, speaking with Salman, one thing would lead to the other, and then obviously because I was curious, being the smart guy that he was, he started bringing Islam into the equation. And the biggest thing is like I remember like there's a lot of things that he told me, like small things that he would tell me, like translations of the Quran, and he was a very wise guy. He was a very wise guy. He was actually my age. He was born in 1994.
Okay.
So
okay.
he's 30 years old now, but at the time we were pretty young. I think we were probably, I want to say even like around like 19, 20.
Okay.
Like
Sorry, just for context, what religion were you previously? You said you were spiritual. Was
Yeah.
there a religion you practiced or anything like that?
I was born Catholic.
Okay.
Catholic, and then I think once I started getting into university, that's when I kind of left the church because there's a few things with the church that I didn't really align with.
Okay.
So yeah, I left the church, and then I was kind of on my own spiritual journey. I started like experimenting with different religions, learning about Hinduism. I stumbled upon Islam. Like I was just doing my own research on Islam too, but yeah, multiple different religions that I was just learning about, but more so on like just the spiritual side. I got like deep into like meditation, yoga.
Oh, subhanAllah.
Yeah, all that stuff, which I feel like all those things kind of led me to Salah.
For sure.
In the grand scheme of things, right? So.
Okay. So this was 2016. Something I'm always curious about, and maybe some brothers that are born Muslim, or even for us reverts as well. How would you say, brother? What was his name again? The brother.
Salman.
How was Brother Salman's approach? Was he direct? Did he just relate to you on just like a personal level first, and then bring Islam, or was it just very direct right off the bat?
I think he took like a spiritual approach to Islam because he kind of saw that I was into that whole spiritual stuff. And then he would make those connections to the Quran and certain things that I would say that I would that I would find out on my own journey. He would relate it back to Islam,
Okay,
right? And there were like specific verses and stuff that he would say, or like specific teachings from Islam that he would say that even after I left working with him for many years, it's still stuck in my head.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
So this was 2016. This was your first, I guess you could say, taste of Islam.
Yeah.
What happened next? Would you say it was like an event in life or something just casual that happened where it just came to you?
I would say the next biggest event, I would say would be during COVID.
Tough times for sure for everybody.
Believe it or not, it was actually I would say is one of the best times of my life. I had a lot of time during COVID. I had a lot of fun during COVID. Right?
We all did. We all picked up good habits and bad habits.
Exactly. Right. Like people didn't really have to work as much. A lot of people were out of work. Everyone was at home, and I'm a little bit of a extroverted introvert, so I
know exactly how you feel.
You know what I mean? So I kind of liked that, like the streets were super empty, and while the streets were super empty, like I remember at the beginning of COVID, I was one of the only people that were outside because I was just curious. I was always just curious. So I'm like, let me really see what's going on out here, right? So it was like a ghost town. I was just out and about. A lot of people were obviously still uncertain with what was going on with the virus and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
My barber stopped cutting hair.
Hold on a second. Yeah. When the barber goes out of, when he's not cutting, this is a problem for
That's how I knew it was a real pandemic. I was like, okay.
That's when I felt it personally. Once I couldn't be fresh every 2 weeks, I was second guessing.
It was crazy. So like I'm bald, right? Yeah. So like my hair grows out like from the sides. So like I started looking like not, I started looking like not like myself.
Gotcha.
And then back during that time, a barber was like an underground thing, It's like it was like word of mouth. It's like so and so is still cutting hair out of their out of their basement or whatever, right? So I came across this barber, and subhanAllah, it was crazy because right before that happened, I moved to a new place. And this barber happened to be like a block away from me, from where I just moved.
Wow.
So I started getting my haircut from this guy. His name was Mahdi, but he's probably, shout out to Mahdi.
Yeah.
So Mahdi was my barber, and then he started talking to me about Islam. But it happened.
Second encounter.
But this is many, many years later. This is like what, 2020?
Yeah, 4 years. Okay.
Yeah, 4 years, which is a pretty significant time, right?
For sure.
So he started talking to me about Islam, and then same thing. Like I was on a deeper spiritual journey too, because like now the world's shut down, and I'm like, I see how fragile like this whole world was, right?
Yeah.
So like everything that I knew about the world, it just felt like it was a lie, because it was like overnight, it felt like everything shut down, all normality just disappeared.
Yeah, everything we thought we knew completely changed. And just for context, like for people who maybe don't get their haircut every time, like you have a relationship with your barber, you know what I mean?
100%.
And in these times, like we actually do have deep conversation, and actually hearing your story reminds me of that too. Like other people who have heard about Islam in simple conversation passing just at the barbers. And we won't talk about COVID pricing, because COVID pricing those days was something else.
No, Mahdi's a good Muslim. He didn't charge me crazy, but
alhamdulillah. Honestly, for myself personally, I didn't have a Muslim barber at the time, so I was paying a premium dollar, Gosh. But please continue, brother.
Yeah. So like just for context, I've been going to the same barber since I was like in grade 8.
Ooh.
So to like
this
cheat
on
my
deal,
barber
guys.
and go to a new barber was
a big deal.
And then anyways, I went to Mahdi, and then I was on my own spiritual journey. And obviously with all that time and all that isolation at that time, like this is the beginning of COVID, where people were afraid to come out, and it was kind of like looked down upon if you were in large groups and stuff, right?
That's true.
So I was just by myself. I used to wake up in the morning, and I thought the world was gonna end. So like I was literally that crazy guy. Like I used to live in like a condo, and if you looked at the condo, we had like a baseball diamond in front of it.
Okay.
And I'd literally set a timer for like an hour, and I'd climb up the baseball diamond, jump off, and then climb up again for 1 hour every day. I just trained because
you were gonna make sure you were ready.
It's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Right? It's a zombie apocalypse. When the zombies come out, I'm jumping fences. Everyone's gonna stay in their house, get fat and lazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get fit. Right? And I'm gonna survive, and I'm gonna procreate. I'm gonna reproduce. I'm gonna rebuild this. The Earth's population, right? That's literally my mentality. Like,
you really were on a spiritual journey there.
Literally. So I used to I took advantage of everything. I would go to the forest, meditate for hours, just by myself, right? Yeah. And man, I was like really into like all the binaural audios and like that whole scene, right? And then I would get like these like a lot of realizations about life, and I'll see how we're super interdimensional, and like I was learning a lot about life literally by just being in nature, right? Okay. So I would take those learnings and then bring it back to my barber, which is like probably one of the only people I get to have a conversation with
at that time, for sure.
At that time, and then Mahdi happened to be like a super like deep guy, 2 years younger than me, but very, very mature, very, very deep, and we would just kind of hit it off. We'd just be bouncing back deep philosophical conversations about life. And then like I'll just tell him about like these new things that I'm learning about life, just being alone and just like, you know, just being in that like solitude. And he'd be like, bro, everything you're telling me is in the Quran. And then like it just kept happening over and over again. And I was like, okay, bro, let me read this Quran thing. What's this Quran thing all about, right? So then I like it started to open up like a different can of worms, and I started watching like Islamic videos and stuff too. And then,
Okay.
Yeah, slowly,
Yeah,
right? Because like a little bit before then, I knew that I had to pick one religion or one path because I couldn't just be in a pool of spirituality. Because like, you know, like I don't mean to offend anybody, but I feel like a lot of people who claim that they're spiritual, they just don't want to commit to one thing, and they don't want to have like borders, right?
Or a set of rules to follow.
Exactly. They want to be able to pick and choose what they like and what they don't like, and just create their own rules. And that's kind of what I was doing and living
that
by,
stage,
right?
yeah.
At that stage in life, right? So yeah, so I knew like eventually I'm like, because I knew like obviously discipline equals freedom, right? Like you got to do the things that you don't like to get the things that you do like, right?
Inshallah, yeah.
Right? So like it's like it's like long-term gratification over short-term gratification, right? That's just how life works in general. So I knew I had to make the sacrifice and pick one route. Wasn't like this path and like just going to that Islamic barber at that specific time was leading me towards Islam. And then that's when I started to get started watching like the dawah video, like the videos and stuff, and like and then my Instagram's obviously spying on us too. So
man,
I'm getting all like these Instagram like you know like reels with like it was like Mufti Menk.
Yeah,
Mufti Menk would like be like super peaceful, and then what's the other guy who?
Muhammad Hoblos probably.
Hoblos, yeah. And I'd be like Mufti Menk,
yeah.
all calm, and then I'll like swipe up, and then Hoblos would be screaming at me, and I'm like, bro, I gotta get my life together. You know?
You need it though, because like for myself personally, I got long drives in the morning. Like this is who I like listening to keep me up and remind me like these are the intentions that we're setting for today. You know, Bismillah, let's go.
Exactly. So yeah, bro, one thing led to another, and then Mahdi became my main barber because he.
He got promoted. He got promoted.
No offense, he was better than my last barber.
Let's edit that out, guys. Come on.
No. We can leave that in there, you know.
Okay.
It's constructive criticism, right? But yeah, no. Mahdi became really good friends after that, and it was kind of one of those things where I kind of went to go see him, not even just for the haircut. The haircut was an excuse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just to go sit down with them and like, cause he was super busy, bro. Like, imagine he's one of the only barbers during COVID.
Yeah.
He was lined up, like, you know, like I think he. Alhamdulillah, he probably made like the most amount of money during COVID. Yeah, right.
No so did he give you like a Quran at that point?
He gave me my first Quran.
Was it? I'm always curious. Was it what version? Like, was it
clear
the clear
Quran?
Quran?
It was a clear Quran. Yeah, I still have it. It's still on my.
Wow.
That's the only Quran I read. Yeah, like that specific one.
Okay, so he gives you the clear Quran. You guys are talking probably bi-weekly at this point because
no, it was actually weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah. I'm bald. I had to get a haircut every week.
True. Yeah, I hear you.
You know those ones, right?
Yeah. Well, inshallah, one day. But okay, so you're meeting with him weekly. He gives you a clear Quran. What happens next? Like, how are you feeling in that moment? Like, are you feeling like? Did you have like a curiosity to pray? Because you're getting the knowledge by watching the videos. But did you feel, I guess you could say, like the thirst in that moment to want to know more? Or like what did you feel was the next step for you there?
Honestly, I just felt because like for me, it was like I was spending all this time and like meditating and doing my own research and stuff like that. And like energy's going towards figuring out what the truth is. But whenever I'm figuring out the truth and I'm coming back to Mahdi and having these conversations about the truth, he's already telling me he knows these things because it's in the Quran.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, bro, maybe I'm wasting time. Maybe I should redirect my energy into just reading the Quran or like learning more about Islam. So instead of trying to figure out these revelations or trying to figure out what life really means, like I just read it. Like why am I making it harder for myself?
Yeah.
Right. So then that's what kind of led me to learn more about Islam, and then I kind of just got sucked into the hole, and I was like, because it's I don't know, it's very interesting, bro. Like I feel like you learn everything about yourself. Like it almost felt like the Quran is like it's like an owner's manual for your life.
Of course,
right?
Yeah. These are Allah's words to us, right?
Yeah,
like it's His instructions to us.
Literally.
But please continue, yeah.
No, it's like for example, like you buy a car, and then like if you never read the owner's manual, right, and you just drive your car, like eventually it's gonna break down.
Of course.
And then you're like, okay, like what's wrong with my car? You don't even know where to start because there's so many like intricate components. Versus if you just read the owner's manual from the beginning, every 5,000 kilometers or every 10,000 kilometers, you got to change the oil.
Yep.
If you don't even know that basic thing, you're going to break down.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
It's going to happen for sure.
And that leads to other problems as well. But I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like with the Quran, if you just read that and you do the preventative maintenance, like you'll have a much easier and flowing life. That's what I found out.
That's what you felt personally. Yeah. Was there a surah like I always ask because I feel like a lot of brothers sometimes they have a surah that really like jumped out at them, or was it just collectively you read the whole Quran and then like you just knew you were going to be Muslim? Like, was there a moment there?
It wasn't even that I read the whole Quran that led me to Islam. I think it was just the lectures and like how it tied. It's just for me it was just fascinating how it'll be like a 1.5 hour lecture and it'll be on one thing.
Yeah.
And it just goes so deep. And like even at the end of the 1.5 hour lecture, he's not even done.
He's like, to be continued.
Yeah. He's not even done. So I'm like, bro, this is so deep. And like I've always had that thirst, and like I'm always trying to figure out where we come from and like why are we here? What's the purpose of life? Like I feel like that was my whole existence for like the first 30 years of my life. Right? So
searching for the purpose of life.
Because I honestly, bro, because I was always working, I was always in school or whatever, and I was just doing things. I was out with friends, but something always felt like it was missing. So
the fitra told you like you're missing something. Maybe your path wasn't clear.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah for Islam, like it helps us find our purpose. And realizing that it is to worship Allah.
Yeah.
So now at this point, you've read, you understand. Had you gone to a masjid at the time yet, or?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I was actually scared to go to masjid at the beginning.
I was too, man,
yeah.
honestly.
So
I don't know why.
But the outside looks like super hectic.
Yeah, honestly. Especially when you see how many people are there and everything. Like, I don't personally like crowds in general, but then subhanAllah, now I'm in them, you know?
Everybody had like big beards. They look all angry and stuff. I'm like, what if I go in there? They're like,
and they're like, no,
I don't come out. You know?
But tell me, like, for yourself at that point, like what was the next thing that happened? Like, how did you come to the masjid? Because at this point you have the knowledge, and like now you got to go to the place. You got to go to the place now.
So how did I get to the masjid? I went to the masjid first time was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but mind you, bro, before the last 2 years, the year before I did my first Ramadan. The year before I wasn't even considering becoming Muslim.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I just did Ramadan because like I was always like even till this day, like I always like to take on these like challenges, and I was just like just to kind of like see if I can do it, right? Like the 75 hard.
Gotcha.
Or like what is it like? Like even like this is like it was just like a fasting thing. I was like, it seems pretty interesting, and I knew like from the spiritual side, I knew the benefits of fasting and all that stuff too, right? So I knew there was some sort of like spiritual benefit to it, but it was more so. I think it was more of like a physical thing too. Like I just wanted to prove to myself that
you could do it.
Yeah, sustain without water or food and stuff, and like I just went through it, right? And I was like, this is sick, right? And it was the craziest thing because I remember the first time I fasted. This was in 2022.
Okay.
I was like preparing for it like the weeks before. I'm like, it's about to go down. Like I was like reducing my food and water intake like the weeks before. I'm like, I'm about to do this thing.
Yeah.
All in, right? And then, bro, first day of Ramadan happens.
Yeah.
Bro, you can't make this up.
Yeah.
You can't make this up. First day of Ramadan happens. I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry.
SubhanAllah.
And I take a nap. And I rarely take naps during the day. It's very, very rare. I take a nap and I have this like, I don't know if it was like a dream or whatnot. And whether you believe it or not, wallahi, I don't know if it was like a dream or not, but I felt like it was like something like above me. Like when I was in my bed, like it didn't feel like a dream, like, but I was asleep.
Yeah.
But I was in my room, and I felt like there's something above me, and I just knew it was like goodness above me, right? And I just felt like it was like a good, like a good aura above me, but I don't know what it was. And then like I woke up and like I had a conversation about Mahdi. I had a conversation about what happened with Mahdi too. And I had a conversation about like, I'm like, how come I'm not hungry and I'm not thirsty? And that's when he told me, he's like, during Ramadan, Allah locks up shaitan. And I'm like, bro, like,
how?
How? I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, what does shaitan have to do with me being hungry, you know?
Yeah.
And then like, just kept going down the rabbit hole, bro. Like,
And so at this point, now you're going to the masjid
No,
for
I didn't
Ramadan?
go to the
Not.
masjid.
Okay,
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
It's still
So you're
challenging.
doing Ramadan.
Yeah.
You haven't gone to the masjid. SubhanAllah, man. Like that's quite the journey. Like what?
Yeah.
So what happens next? Like
Nothing, bro. I just lived my life. It was just like a
Yeah.
normal thing. I finished Ramadan and I was like, okay, sick. Like the next day, I guess it was Eid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it was Eid. I didn't even know what Eid or anything was, bro, at the time. It was Eid, whatever. To me, I was like, okay, sick. I can eat and like drink water again, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. And then I just went back to my normal life after that.
Okay, so you went back to your normal life. You've had this sort of experience that you couldn't really explain. How did you feel after that? Did you feel like you wanted more, or like how was life in those moments? Like, was life were things going well at the time, or?
At that time, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, it was good. And then I think end of that year, this is what really led me to Islam. End of that year. So, because just a little bit of like a backstory. Like for me, like I've always been like that very like nonchalant like type of personality.
Oh yes,
I know this. You know this.
We got stories.
Yeah,
for
you know,
sure.
like I don't stress about anything.
Yeah.
Like like
that's a great thing as well.
It's something that I had to like kind of like just like
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned that over the years, right? Because it's like there's a lot of things that would always happen in life that's out of your control, and like sometimes like you literally can't do anything but certain things. So you're just like, okay, cool, it is what it is. Like that's just been my motto. Like it is what it is, right? So I just let things kind of happen, right? And then where were we going with this?
So Ramadan. Now you're just like. What really led you, like how life was going well at the time, and now it seems like something was gonna happen or happened.
Yeah. So like even in school, like going back to the context, even in school, whatever, like, bro, like I wasn't the kid who was like up all night studying the night before for the tests and stuff. I'm not like working my hardest. I was always like the guy that like I'd kind of half study whatever and then like I'll just go and I'll get like 70s and 80s. Like it was just like one of those, like I just didn't care,
Yeah.
And like job interviews and stuff, if I needed a job, I'll just walk into the interview. I'll just kind of like just say whatever I gotta say and I'll get the job. Like I've always had a job since like 2011. So since I was in high school, I've always been working. Money, alhamdulillah, wasn't like it would just be there, right? Like I wasn't like super rich when I was a kid, whatever or anything, but like it wasn't hard, right? And then I don't know, I just felt like I was like a lucky kid. Like that's just how I felt, right? And then end of what year was that? I think that was 2020. Whatever, we were in 2023.
2023 would be 2 years ago now.
Yeah, so end of 2022. Oh man, I went through like crazy hardship. It was just insane hardship. Like it was one of those things where anything I made, if I just say I made like $200 for the day, I'd have an expense that was $600.
Wow.
Like money would just not be in my hands. Like, it would just flow out of my hands. And then it was so obvious that it was something beyond, like it was something beyond me.
Yeah.
That like even my neighbor, who never even spoke to me, randomly just walked up to me and he's like, "Bro, I swear there's like a black cloud on top of you."
No, is this neighbor a Muslim as well?
No, he's just like
he just saw.
It's a regular dude. Like
so is that like evident?
That's how evident it was. Cause wallahi, I had like 7 or 8 flat tires that year, back to back. Like there's literally one time where my tire, and like it was not even like it was a flat tire. Like it'll blow.
Okay, there's no fixing that.
The tire would blow, and then like I'll go get it fixed, and on my way out, the other one will explode. I'm like, and I had no money, and I was like, bro, what's going on? Like this is so weird.
Yeah.
And then I had like all of these like I'm like my credit cards are getting maxed out. Yeah. Like my lines of credits are getting maxed out. Like everything's getting maxed out. My credit's plummeting. Like it just looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? But throughout all of this. Like this was like all at the beginning, like when I first started real estate, like, I was like making the tough sacrifice. Times, like I left like my regular job and I was like driving Uber so I can work on my real estate business to become a realtor, right? Because it's just what you had to do. Any business you start, you have to make that sacrifice.
Put in the time, yeah, absolutely.
So bro, it was just one of those things where I was just kept getting beat up like over and over and over again. And like throughout all this, like I was still doing my best to stay optimistic. And like things
tough.
were, bro, things were getting so tough that like even the people around me, they were like, yo, you're the most optimistic person I've ever met. But like, it was kind of like I was forcing the optimism to like not even let myself down. It was
You were no longer believing it at that point.
No. There's a
It's
point
tough at that point. Come on.
was,
If everything's going wrong, like it's
was
difficult.
like bro, like one time, and I was doing Uber at the time. And it was a manual car. My clutch went, and I had no money.
No.
Clutch replacement is like over $2,000. My clutch went. And I had no money. I had no car. My boy gives me his car. He had a second car. Alhamdulillah, he had a second car. He's like, yo, drive my car and just like do Uber Eats or whatever and just make some money. I go put the key in the car. Bro, wallahi, you can't make this stuff. I put the key in the car to start it. The key breaks.
That's stressful. Like,
I'm like, bro.
are you talking to Mahdi during this time?
I am.
You are? Okay,
I am.
okay. Just
And,
curious.
and I remember before all this, when this all first started happening, he's like, reflect on your life and think about what you're doing wrong. And I'm like,
That's
bro.
crazy. Yeah.
I'm like, what does that have to do with what's going on right now? He's like, bro, it's like when you're committing a lot of sins, right? He's like, Allah's like, yo, something is blocking your blessings right now, right? He's like, yo, reflect on your life. See what you're doing good and see what you're doing wrong. He's like, I guarantee you're doing a lot of wrong things.
That's a tough advice to hear, but at the same time, like these are the things you need to hear as well.
Yeah.
So he tells you this, you know, you start reflecting what happens next. Like at this point, like you're getting beat up here. Like you're really getting beat up here.
Mine is going on for like almost a year.
Wow. So it's not just a short period.
It wasn't a short
it's
thing.
extended.
It was extended. But it started off slow and it just kept getting worse. It got to the point, key broke, car's completely gone. It got to a point where, bro, I had no other option. I had no work. I had no car. I was just at home and rent was coming up. I'm already in the negatives, mind you. Everything's maxed out. I have nothing left. And bro, I didn't even know where I was gonna go, bro. I literally I remember I called my mom and I never tell my mom like what's going on and stuff. I called my mom and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just give up. I give up on life. I'm done. And then, bro, she was worried because she's like, yo, this is the most optimistic guy. She's like, oh, what's going on? And she was scared. She's like, just leave your place. She's like, come move in with me. Like, you can come stay with me. And I was like, and I knew like that wasn't the solution, right?
Yeah, of course. Especially after being outside for a while, we have egos, of course. Right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, bro, I remember I got off the phone, and then I feel like around that time, like, people weren't like, I don't know, like it's like it was also one of those things where like I felt like I needed the people around me the most, and for some reason nobody was answering my phone calls during that time. Right, so then I knew, like now I know when that happens. It's like when people don't answer my phone calls and they're all busy and stuff. I know Allah wants me to be on my in my in solitude, you know. So and that's when and reflect on what's going on. But at that time, like I felt like I didn't know that at the time. Like I was just like so like.
You were taking it personally.
I was taking it personally at the time, right? I'm like, yo, like I really need somebody right now, and bro, like I just felt like I had no light at the end of the tunnel. Bro, I remember I literally in my room. I went in my room and I literally curled into a little ball. And I've never done this, bro, in my in my life. I curled into a little ball in the and I literally lay down on the floor. And I just I just burst out crying. And I was like,
it's tough.
Yeah, because I'm like, I just gave up on life. You know, I was like I don't know, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it was the same day or like it was around that time. Mahdi randomly calls me and he's like, yo, come to the masjid.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was like, I remember telling him, I'm like, bro, what's that going to do for me right now, you know?
At this point, you've tried everything.
I tried everything. I'm like, bro, yo, it's basically done. I'm like, I just give up because I'm like, I was scared to move forward because I'm like, if I move forward, it was just going to take me like 20, not even 10 steps. It was like, take me 20 steps back.
That's how it felt.
So like, I just felt like I should just not even do anything and just stay stagnant. And he's like, yo, trust me, just come to the masjid. And I was like, okay, sure. Right? Like, I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. He picked me up. And like, bro, I'm telling you, at that time in my life, I would have never gone to the masjid.
Yeah.
If I had a car, if my car was still working, if I was still working, whatever, I would have. There's no way that I would ever go to a masjid. Like that's just the mentality that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
But because like I literally felt like Allah stripped everything away from me, it felt like this is my last. This is the only thing I have left.
Yeah.
So I hopped in this car, went to the masjid. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if I'm getting it mixed up now because I don't know. So much has happened since.
Yeah, of course. But
if I'm not mistaken, I feel like it was Qiyam. I think it was Qiyam because I remember like one of the first times that he's taken me to the masjid and I prayed. I remember I was just like watching him pray, but like it was either before or shortly after. It was like Qiyam, and I remember like the lights were off at the masjid, like like it was like we're like praying all night, and I remember just like nonstop, just doing the prayer
after rakah
after rakah, and then like
and this is your first experience.
It's I don't know if it was my first or like it was like very early where I was just like and because of the yoga that I used to do and because of the meditation and everything from before, like I knew that the salah where they're all yoga moves and like with yoga, like each move it does specific things to the body, right? Like even like the first part where like you just kind of halfway that like releases tension in your lower back, which releases emotion.
Yep.
And then like you go back up, and then when you put your head on the ground,
of course,
you're basically grounding your third eye. You're putting your third eye on the ground and you're grounding it. And I was like, this is sick. Like this is super sick. Like this.
You're like, I know this. This is different though.
Yeah. But like so like just consistently doing it. So like because of the spiritual background, I was like, this makes sense why I feel good right now. So I just kept doing it, and like I put a lot of like faith in that and that feeling that I was getting, right? Yeah. And then, bro, I remember I was just like praying, and then like, bro, like I remember like while I was praying, bro, I remember just tears just running down my eyes, and I was like, why am I crying? I'm like, I don't cry in public, I don't do this stuff, right?
Honestly, I feel sorry to interrupt you, but like I feel like as a Muslim, I've cried more as a Muslim than I have like my entire life.
Same.
And it's not necessarily because something happens, but and you can go into this as well, like hearing Allah's words to us, even though it may be in Arabic and we don't understand, like they still speak to you.
It does.
And for you to be at the masjid during Ramadan, like during these the holiest times, like subhanallah, man, like so what happens next? You've basically tried everything. You go to the masjid, you're praying now. What happens next?
Bro, like I guess like around that time, because I remember like around that time, like I think it was a little bit before Ramadan, like I was considering Islam, but like I was like one day.
You're just like inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah. Basically before I said inshallah, I said inshallah, right? But I was like, maybe one day, maybe one day. But there's a lot of like restrictions and stuff that was like kind of holding me back. And then I was doing Ramadan then too. And then bro, I remember just praying, whatever, and then, bro, I really felt like a different type of connection, right? And I feel like in that moment, because everything was taken away from me, just that sujood just felt, and I didn't even know anything about sujood, bro. Just the sujood just felt like, it felt very like natural. It felt like it felt like it had to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And then one thing led to another. I kept doing my research. And then I think Mahdi, like during on one of the barber sit downs, he's like, when are you going to become Muslim?
SubhanAllah. Yeah, at this point, he's just like, he's seen you through all these different phases of life. Like naturally, he wants what's best for you.
Exactly.
So he asks you, when are you going to be Muslim? Like, what did that look like after that?
I was like, I don't know. I'm like, SubhanAllah. And thinking back to it too, it's like the reasons why I was holding back was just it's just so dumb, I was just like, bro, like I want to get some more tattoos and stuff first, because like like I was like really into like tattoos and stuff right at the time, right? And then like I wanted to finish up my sleeve and like I was gonna get like my neck and everything all done too. And I was like, I'm gonna get my tattoos, and then I want to still live this lifestyle that I was living, and like like doing the things that I was doing at the time. Just and then
shaitan filling up your mind with all these different excuses and putting it off.
Exactly. So I was just like, let me just live this lifestyle, and then one day I'm gonna be like, I'm done with this. I'm gonna become Muslim then. And then I remember, I forgot who the other guy was. It was like some random guy, but he was from the masjid as well. And we're getting our haircut and we're having this conversation. And I remember Mahdi was, I don't know if it was Mahdi or the other guy asked. He's like, bro, if you woke up tomorrow morning, sorry, no, he's like, if you didn't wake up tomorrow morning, he's like, would you regret not being Muslim? And I was like, bro, like nobody's ever asked me a question like that before. And I was like, yo, you know what? I actually would. And then he's like, yo, he's like, yo, you don't need to be perfect to become Muslim. He's like, yo, we're all Muslim. He's like, reverts, real people convert. And yo, you're always going to make mistakes. He's like, yo, you're going to sin until the day you die.
Yeah.
And like, you know, but that's part of becoming Muslim. Yeah. And then like, and it's like, it's a constant process. Like, you know, you're always repenting and whatnot.
Of course, seeking repentance consistently. Like, that's the key. Like, that's what Allah wants us to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, yeah, bro. I remember.
So what happens? Like, when does the shahada come, man? You got me hooked here.
I after that conversation is, right after that conversation, like, I knew, I was like, okay, yo, I'm going to become Muslim.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is it. And then I think it was like a few days after. But yo, even during those few days, I was like second guessing it.
Of course.
I was like, yo, this is a big step. I'm like, what if I'm making the wrong choice? I'm like, yo, this is my afterlife. I'm like, what if this is not the right religion? Like, stuff for Allah, you know? I was just like, oh, like, what if this is like, what if, you know? I was just questioning everything, right?
Of course.
And then I was just like, yo, whatever. I was, you know, sometimes I'm like all in YOLO kind of guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just like, yo, let me just do it. And then Money's like, yo, you should do it on the 27th night of Ramadan. And it was just like a couple of days away. And I was like, what's that?
Of course, yeah. At this stage, yeah.
And right? I was like, yo, what's that? And he's like, yo, like, it's just, he's like, yo, it's a night of power or something, right? I still don't really know fully, but I know it's a very special day.
Yes.
And I was like, yo, okay, yo, I'm down, let's do it. But yo, let's do it on the low. I'm like, I want to do it like in the back of the masjid or like whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, do it in front of the crowd. And he's like, yo, you're gonna get you're gonna get the blessings of everybody, because like, you know, like when they say
they're all gonna bear witness. Yeah.
And bro, I like 101, like, yo, I'm chilling, but like I have severe stage fright. And bro, like, this is 27th night of Ramadan, so it's like the most packed amount of people probably gonna be at the masjid. Bro, I was so nervous, and like, I'm wearing a thobe. I've never worn a thobe before.
Oh no way! Yeah. Madi gave it to you?
Madi gave me a thobe.
I gotta meet this guy, man.
Yo, Madi's sick, bro. Madi's sick. I'm wearing a thobe, and I'm like, yo, what is this? I look like I'm wearing a dress. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable. Yeah. Right? And like, it was like a short sleeve thobe too, so I'm like all my tattoos are exposed and stuff. I'm like, bro, like, what's going on, right? And I was like, bro, and I think I had a gold chain on.
At the time too.
I had a gold chain on.
You had the combo going that day.
Bro, I had a gold chain on, a nose ring, and 2 earrings. Right?
Yeah. And that's not to say that, like, you know, as Muslims, obviously we later on learn, you know, that these things are not accepted. But that, like, just for the general public to know that just because you were doing these things did you ever feel excluded? Like, did anybody say, hey, you can't come in here?
No. I thought, like, at the time, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So when I pulled up with like all the jewelry on, he's like, bro, you can't wear that. And I'm like, why can't I wear what I want to wear? You know? Yeah, I'm like, this is me, right? And he's like, yo, trust me, just take it off and just come inside, take your shahada. Right? And like, whatever. And like, you're all so nervous, bro.
Yeah. Me too.
Bro. Yeah. You know, I'd imagine. Because you did have like the Mississauga.
Yeah, it was in Brampton, but on the day of Eid. But
you don't eat, mashallah.
Yeah, but you were saying, so you like you were having second thoughts. I'm sure you're nervous when you're up there.
Well, no, at this point when I'm at the masjid, bro, I'm already like wearing a thobe and stuff. I'm already there, you know.
You gotta go all in.
And I invited like a bunch of like my Muslim boys and stuff.
No way.
Yeah,
okay.
Because like obviously they wanted to come and see it too.
Yeah, of course.
And there's like a couple of people, bro, even before like converting, because like one of the other reasons why I was even looking to Islam in the beginning was there's a lot of I think you're talking about this before too. There's a lot of non-revert brothers that were Muslim, and I've seen how they used to be, and I've seen how when they got on Deen, how much Allah has like just multiplied their life.
Yeah.
Right. Like I know like a bunch of ex-hoodmans. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
when I mean hoodmans, bro, I mean like
Yeah, yeah.
hoodmans.
Mm-hmm.
And like now they're like super professional, making like 300-400K a year, like taking care of the whole family, like being the man of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's ever since they got on Deed, like it was like a switch. And it's like, and it's crazy because I think this is like either a hadith or a verse, but it's like when you switch, when you get on Deed, your life will change so much that people can't even imagine you, or they wouldn't even believe you. It's sometimes you might even forget who you were before.
Yeah, honestly, subhanAllah, like I can't quote exactly which hadith you're talking about, but I've definitely experienced, and you know, the people that know us would definitely say the same thing for sure.
100%. So yeah, so all the guys that inspired me, I invited them to my shahada, and like they were super excited. And even then, I didn't really understand. I'm like, yo, why do you get so like excited?
Yeah.
I'm like, just come to Islam, bro. Like, just chill out, you know. But like, I didn't get it, but now I get it. I get it now because it's like
the importance of it, the magnitude of it.
The magnitude of it, like at the time I was like, yo, it's just a religion, like, you know, like. But yeah, they came, whatever. I took my shahada, and bro, wallahi, wallahi, bro, I took my shahada, and bro, and yo, there's a video of this too. I'll send you the video, bro. I took my shahada, and I literally felt like this like weight just come off my shoulders. Like the second I was done, it weight just came off my shoulders. And bro, like, look at the video, bro. I'm literally like glowing in the video. Like I was literally glowing, and I was like, bro. And I looked at the video too, because everyone's like, oh, mashallah, you're glowing. And I'm like, I just thought people were hyping, because you know, like, you know people, right? I just thought they were hyping, and I looked at the video, bro. I'm literally glowing, right? And like, bro, that was like the darkest time of my entire life. And I'm like, yo, that's bro, like it was like a physical.
You felt it.
I'm not like saying figuratively. There's a physical weight that came off my shoulder when I took my shahada.
SubhanAllah, man.
So yeah.
So you took your shahada, and yeah, like I think this is a perfect segue to kind of ask you a couple questions regarding, you know, what happens after, because you know it is difficult when we revert to Islam. There's a lot to learn, and that's the beauty of Islam. Like we're consistently learning, but there's a lot of moments where we feel like we have to be perfect, like you mentioned. In terms of accepting Islam and trying to be perfect, for those who believe that they have to be perfect, did you feel that way at a particular time? It sounds like you did. And what did you do to kind of move past that?
I think it was just the getting the advice from the community, like, you know, just like Mahdi and the other guy at the barbershop, who kind of told me, you know, like we're all humans, like you're gonna make mistakes, and that's kind of part of Islam too, right? And like I think learning more about Islam too, like end of the day, Allah prefers the person that makes tawbah than the guy who's like quote unquote perfect. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. And it's crazy because even till this day, obviously, bro, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. All of us, I'm still sinning till this day. I still sin, you know? And I find that every time I sin and I get away from Allah, every time I sin and I get away from Allah till this day and I go back, my relationship with Allah gets a lot closer. Right? And like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's like being married, for example, and you're with your wife. You get into an argument. Every argument, once you guys make up, your bond is a little bit closer. Yeah. Right? So if that's with your wife, imagine that with the creator of the universe. Creator.
It's true. SubhanAllah.
Right?
SubhanAllah.
So,
and so Islam, like, it emphasizes actually taking small, meaningful steps, intentional steps towards self-improvement. Can you talk about some of the things that you initially, like, I know it's been a long journey, but some of the things that you started to implement after you took your shahada in order to maintain yourself, you know, obviously asking Allah for His guidance and keeping you on the straight path, but some of the things that you started to do in order to help yourself in this moment.
I think the biggest thing is I started to tune out the other noise. So like I started watching. Remember I said I was watching like I'd watch like a Christian video, and then I watched like a Hindu video, and then like a Islamic video, which were kind of almost saying the same things, but like, you know, just different perspectives. Of course. I started tuning out the other noise. I started just focusing on the one thing, because that's like anything in life. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like for example, like you get into real estate, You can't be like, oh, I'm going to do real estate and I'm going to start a software company and I'm going to do pavements on the weekends. You're not going to be successful like in any of them, right? You're going to be like 10% in everything, right? You got to go all in on one thing, and that's what's going to give you your fruits.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, going all in, like obviously is the best way. But if you can give one thing to do, like one small step, in terms of being able to move closer to growing in Deen. So like lectures would be one of them.
Lectures, and I think the biggest thing, honestly, and I think this is super underrated. Your social media, right? Your explore page.
Okay.
Start filtering out your explore page. Take out all the nonsense on your explore page.
Yeah.
And start looking at more Islamic content. Because there's a lot of times, bro, like I would honestly probably, like I'd even say like most of the things I've learned about Islam is through my explore page. Instagram Reels taught me more about Islam than like any lecture ever has. Right? If anything, that was like a gateway to get me into a lecture. Right? It's like small ideas that are chipped up in these Instagram Reels. And I feel like that's like the biggest thing too. Because I feel like because this is what I'm hearing. Like a lot of younger people are getting more involved into the Islamic community these days. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where the kids are, bro. That's where the kids are spending their time, right?
Just quickly, though, for the Explore page, what did you do? Like, you just hid certain things?
Yeah, I put not interested on, like, all the haram stuff that were popping up.
Yep.
And, like, the Instagram, they push that.
Of course,
they push that, right?
Absolutely.
And then, like, when you start watching more, like, Islamic lectures and whatnot, obviously the algorithm is going to favor that and you start getting more and more of that too, right? So, I think that was like one of the biggest things.
Seeking knowledge through that.
Yeah.
How about in terms of like, we're not perfect, like we said, in terms of like when moments where you felt short, like you don't have to expose like what you did, but like what step did you take when you felt short? In Islam, what were the next steps that you took to kind of bring yourself back?
I think the biggest thing, bro, was the ummah, the community, right? Because it's like if you're not involved with others like Muslim brothers and not sisters, but if you're not involved if you're not involved with other Muslim brothers, like you go back to your normal life and you're hanging out with non-Muslim people, like the standards are different, of course, right? Like when you're the only Muslim person in like a group and you're stepping aside for salah or you're not eating halal and like like people are kind of merging things around you to like satisfy you, like you feel like the oddball, of course. Versus like when you're hanging around with other Muslim brothers that are on deen, bro, like if you say you're going out, you're going to go out to some halal restaurant and eat at the halal restaurant. You're doing halal things. Exactly. Right? And when it's time for salah, everyone's praying salah. Everyone's putting their foot in the sink and washing their foot to make wudu, So like it's not true. It's like you're a community of
brotherhood's important.
Brotherhood. Yes, it's very important.
Very important.
And even when you're swaying off the path, like if you have good brothers,
like Brother Mahdi, like he
Mahdi,
would see
even you, bro. Like when I'm swaying off path, you'd be like, yo, you're swaying off path. And obviously in the moment you don't want to hear it, but like, bro, you obviously like it rings in your ear for the rest of the day, right?
That's what we're here for, honestly, man. And the concept of Allah's forgiveness, like we know He's the most merciful, the most forgiving. How did that concept sit with you, and how were you able to kind of, really understand it and apply it in your life? Like how did that particularly change you when you really understood the concept of Allah's forgiveness?
I think the biggest thing is like if you watch lectures on Tawbah, I think you really need to just to kind of understand the levels of Allah's forgiveness. But removing religion out of it, like even if you just think of it from a psychological perspective, if you reflect on your sins or your bad deeds, right? If like sins, for example, it's like, there's higher frequencies and lower frequencies, right? Yep. So the higher frequencies, like when you like gratitude, abundance, like stuff like that, they keep you on a higher frequency. So you're in a good feeling. When you do the things that Shaitan wants you to do, like lie, and like basically like lie and like all the lower frequency activities, right?
Yeah, things that you're wasting time with.
Yeah,
You know,
like things
just
that like you're
passing
ashamed
time.
of, like being shameful. Those are low frequency things, right? So, sorry, what was the question again?
Allah's forgiveness, like understanding, how merciful He is and how it's affected your life. Like myself personally, understanding His forgiveness and knowing that He created us imperfect. He knows we're imperfect, and knowing that He wants us to come back to Him. In those moments, even more so. Like if He wanted to, He would have created perfect human beings. He created us. He intentionally made us not perfect, so we will repent and come back to Him. And understanding that concept is this is the beauty of Islam. And I think this is like the perfect moment to ask you this, like, what are some of the misconceptions? Because we all had them as reverts, right? Like growing up here in Canada, we only know what, unless you independently researched or you were surrounded by Muslims, you only know what you're shown. So what were some of the misconceptions of Islam, and how were you able to kind of break through some of them?
Honestly, no, I think just based off the...
We could start at 9/11, because let's be real.
It
all starts then,
it all started at 9/11.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning, misconception is Muslims were terrorists.
That they're all Arab.
They beat their women, they oppress their women, like they're all Arab, exactly. They're not nice people. They want to harm others. And this is like the misconception. This is just like how I assumed Islam to be, right? But when you involve yourself in the community, you see it's completely different. It's the opposite.
It's the complete opposite.
It's the complete exactly, right?
So people that hesitate because they think of all these misconceptions, like, what would you tell them to do? Like, obviously do their own research, of course, but what else would you suggest for them? People who are like looking into Islam, like what would you direct them to do? Let's say.
I would say just reach out to like a Muslim brother that you trust, and 100% like every circle has that at least one or two Muslim brothers that are like just cool, man. They're just integrated, and like some of these guys, they might not talk about Islam, but just talk about Islam with them. Like if you open up the conversation with them, almost every Muslim is gonna be happy to talk to you about Islam.
Absolutely.
You'll find that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter how old they are, how young they are, they're gonna want to talk about Islam.
It's true.
And just go see the masjid. The masjid, honestly, guys, the masjid is really chill. It's literally just like an empty building with a nice carpet.
Yeah.
Literally. It's just an empty... I thought it was going to be
until it's prayer time, and then it gets crazy.
No, but even then, it's so peaceful.
Yeah,
everyone's chill. I used to think there was crazy statues and stuff in there, scary stuff, and bombs and stuff in the back rooms, like that. This is what I thought back.
Of course.
This is what the media taught us, right? But no, it's pretty chill. It's pretty chill.
It is very, very chill, and to what you were saying is understanding that Islam wasn't just brought to a group of people; it was brought to all of humanity. The intention also with us having this conversation is this, right? Breaking some of these stigmas that we have. The biggest population of Muslims are from Indonesia. They're not Arabs. They're not even close. But the beauty of Islam, of all of us being united, but us being able to be united in this way. Look, you're from Sri Lanka. My parents are from Ecuador. We have other brothers here that are from the Philippines. A brother from Dubai. This is the beauty of it. But the outside world doesn't see it. But when you're in the masjid, the importance of going is that you're able to see this. You're able to really experience it.
That's live in the flesh. And then you'll see there'd be a brown guy here, an Asian guy here, a black guy there, a white guy there. Everyone's in the masjid.
It's true.
I actually don't see enough Arabs in the masjid, to be honest.
Sometimes, yeah, man. Depending on where you are, of course. But this is really the beauty of it. And the thing is, for the general public to also understand, once you understand that it's not just a certain type of people, they're everywhere. Muslims are not just one ethnicity, one type of race, they're everywhere. So, asking questions to, general people, you would be surprised at who would be Muslim, people may look at me and they might not know, obviously you have tattoos from the past. People may not think about it.
Yeah.
And, inshallah, we'll share some other time. But like you are the one who brought me to my first masjid, and you helped me really break those stigmas and alhamdulillah for everything really.
Yeah.
But what would you say is one of the most important lessons that you've learned since coming to Islam? Like, we found our purpose. We found out that our purpose in life here is to worship Allah, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the important lessons that you felt like you've learned?
I think the biggest lesson is obviously learn about read the owner's manual.
Absolutely.
Read the owner's manual and stop wasting your time and energy on trying to figure out why we're here.
Yeah.
When God's already told you, there's already a book that tells you exactly why you're here and where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Right? And whether you believe that or not, just give it a shot. You're reading all these. If you're going to read Harry Potter, read the Quran once.
True.
What's Harry Potter going to do for you?
That's true. That's
like
true.
read the scriptures, and then after you read it, then make your own judgment.
Yeah, then you could formulate an opinion.
Exactly, because right now everything that you know is based off mass media and
what you've been told,
and exactly, basically media, right? And like, if you're gonna sit here and tell me that the news has never ever exaggerated or lied to you, then you have other problems.
Of course, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah, you got bigger problems, right? Literally, give it a shot. Look at do your own research. Talk to a Muslim brother. Go to a masjid. I'm telling you, it's not that serious. It's really not that serious.
Honestly, like some of sharing my personal journey, like some of the best lessons I learned was being at the masjid. Like after I had learned to pray, going to the masjid, even by myself, there was brothers that helped me learn how to pray. The first time I led a prayer, I was praying by myself, and next thing you know, I hear Allahu Akbar behind me, and next thing you know, I'm leading a prayer. Because I was in the masjid and going through that experience, that's where I learned how to lead a prayer. So, and also like meeting the brothers and everything there as well goes a long way. Understanding how things work, and the culture around the respect that comes from Islam, for Islam, I should say. What's a couple? Let's go with one piece of advice that you would give to new reverts that have done some research and maybe they feel like they're not good enough, or that they can't live a perfect life in finding Islam, and maybe for those reasons they're kind of on the fence. I know there's a lot, man. Honestly.
There's a lot. But before we even get into the reverts, I want to kind of talk to like the people who just want to look into Islam to even begin with. I think the biggest thing you need to do is look at the definition of things, right?
Absolutely.
Like, for example, and I've been on the exact same boat. For example, let's start off very simple. Allah, for example, right? What did I think before, and what did most people think? It's some Arabic guy in the sky with a big beard.
Yeah.
Some completely different God than like who Jesus and everybody else prayed to.
Upon them all, yeah.
Yeah, No, Allah literally just means God in Arabic, right? It's like saying God in like your own language, except it's in Arabic, right? So there's no physical person. There's no physical entity. It's just like, it's creation. It's source. To all the spiritual people, it's source. The universe. Yeah, we just named it as Allah. That's just the name. It's saying God, right? That's intelligence. It's source. And the second thing is Allahu Akbar. Yeah. Right? What does media taught us? Allahu Akbar. The guy says that. Next thing, everything explodes.
Exactly.
Right?
It's something. It has a negative sort of effect.
A negative connotation.
Yeah,
Allah.
exactly.
So now we know that Allah means God, and Akbar just means is greater. So it just. There's a lot of ways you can dissect Allahu Akbar, but it basically just says Allah is greater. And the way I take it is, it's kind of showing that Allah is greater than everything else, anything else, right? So like, whatever,
He's the
creator.
The greatest. He's the creator of all creation.
Exactly, the beginning and the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So once you get those two main definitions out of the way, I think it's easier to understand the rest.
Absolutely.
I feel like when people watch the lectures, if they hear the word Allah, they're like, "Whoa, who's this new guy?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like just to build on that as well, like something that I would recommend to a lot of people is again the brotherhood, like the importance of surrounding yourself. Like apart from religion, we know this, that you are the group of people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with good brothers, guess what? You're gonna learn to be a better brother.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why there's like I rely on this heavily myself personally. Being part of this Reverts Connect group that we're a part of, you know, setting the intention to help other reverts that are going through similar experiences that we have. You know, it's difficult when we are the only Muslims sometimes at home, you know, that there's nobody there saying, hey, it's time to pray right now. It's just you.
Yeah, it's just you.
It's just you, and it could get very lonely sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Alhamdulillah, you know, our situations are similar in the sense where there's nobody stopping us from being Muslims, but there's other brothers that, you know, may not have that same situation.
Some people, like, their families literally disown them. Like, people have it bad out here.
Absolutely. That's why we always say Alhamdulillah. And again, but having that brotherhood outside of your home is so important for that. Like even us coming back from Umrah, like one thing that really helped me after that post Umrah depression was having brothers around me, you know, meeting, you know, a couple times a month, like not just like, hi, see you at the masjid and that's it, but like spending time talking with them. And, you know, the more we talk about Allah in congregation, it just sets the tone for like how we're living. So I would say that's something that I would recommend for reverts as well, making sure you find you know, community brothers you could hang out with. And for those researching, again, like you had mentioned, or having an open heart and an open mind, you can't critique something. It's ignorant at that point. If you don't know what the topic is, like, and you've done zero research, then you can't logically come to a conclusion.
Yeah, because right now your lens is tainted by whatever
you're being
society
told.
And media has
absolutely
told you.
You know, actually, I got you a gift here. I think it's right behind you here.
Mashallah, appreciate it.
So for being our first guest and all of our Reverts Connect brothers.
That's a hard shirt. That's a pretty hard shirt.
That's a pretty nice shirt. So this is for you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so this is an initiative that we do with Reverts Connect. We make T-shirts that we sell, and the proceeds go to our fund, which we do events. You know, inshallah, we're going to continue to do this podcast as well. And again, cool shirt. You know, it's a conversation starter. People like the design, and then there's a perfect segue to going and you know, talking about Islam. So, brother, I appreciate you coming through and being open and vulnerable, because it's difficult. And inshallah, you know, we'll be able to help, even if it's one person.
Yeah.
That's what matters, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother. One more thing before we
Please.
wrap up. You know, I feel like a lot of people, they aren't as open. You know, they aren't as open to going to meeting new people. Like, you know, you might not want to reach out to your friends, but you know, sometimes like people like watch videos like this and they're like, you know, they feel like they know somebody. Like, for example, you watch Aki Eamon or you watch Mufti Menk or whatever, right? And you're like, you feel like you know these people, right? So if you watch this and you feel like you kind of know us and you want to learn more about Islam, or like, if you have any specific questions, or if you're in the GTA and you want to go to a masjid together, you're on the fence, or you just reverted but you haven't, you know, you're kind of scared to get into it, yo, just reach out to us, one of us directly.
Absolutely.
Like, where our doors are open. Like, don't think like you saw us on YouTube and
you
know, these guys are inaccessible. Like,
no.
Yeah, just reach out to us, and sure, Roberto's gonna put our information
absolutely
in the description below. So just reach out to one of us, and yo, we're more than happy to speak to one of you guys, take you guys out for like lunch or go to a masjid and just talk, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
inshallah, in the alhamdulillah, in the Reverts community, we're deep. I think we're like in our group chat, we're like, I think about 50 to 60 brothers now.
Autobots are definitely assembling right now. You know, there's a lot of reverts now. There's a lot of reverts. Like, there's like, this is what I'm hearing from like the older generation. They've never seen this many young people at a masjid ever.
SubhanAllah, bro.
In Toronto, at least. I don't know about other places, but in Toronto at least, like, they have never seen this many young people at the masjid. And so something's definitely going right. So there's a lot of reverts, and like, yo, trust me, like, there's not everybody there's like big bearded, like, mans are literally chilling in there. Like, it's true. It's pretty chill.
SubhanAllah. May Allah guide us all, and may He
Inshallah.
open all of our hearts, and continue on the straight path.
Inshallah.